Well, hello and welcome to this outdoor English lesson. You'll notice that I'm wearing my sweater. You might call this a hoodie in English as well. I came outside and I set up all my equipment, and then I realized it's actually a little bit chilly out here. While I was moving around, I was warm. It felt okay. But when I sat down for a little while and started chatting with people, I realized that it's actually a little bit chilly out here. So it's a beautiful day, but I think it's only about 11 degrees, and it was a little bit windy earlier. So I'm happy now that I have my sweatshirt on. I'm wearing, of course, pants instead of shorts today. And I didn't bring out any gloves or a toque, but I'm wondering for how much longer can I do these little English lessons outside? We'll have to see. Anyways, thank you for being here. If you are new here, this is how this works. I like to teach English on YouTube. You might have a question about the English language and you have never been able to find the answer either in a textbook or online. Please use the link that Todd will share in the chat to access a Google form where you can ask that question. I'm just going to check for a minute to see if questions are appearing. They are already appearing. So I think we can get started. Before we do, though, I do want to just check the audio. I was having weird audio problems this morning. Sorry, I was checking the audio and I sounded so interesting to myself, I kept listening. So anyways, let's jump over to the first question. Let me just click the right things here to get the right answer to appear. And here we go. Let's see here. First question is from Luke. Hi, Luke. How are you doing? Luke says, hi, Bob. Could you use the word resonate in a sentence? I'm driving my car. I'm not going to say it because it is wrong. You should say, I'm driving my car in first gear. When you get in your car, if you have to put it in gear, you would put it in first gear. Then you would drive a bit and shift to second gear. You would put it in second gear. So that's how you would say it. I'm driving my car in first gear. In terms of the word resonate, there's two ways to describe it. When you say something and I like it, I can say that it resonates with me. So if you're like, oh, I really like cars, I could say, I like cars too. And we would say that your love of cars resonates with my love of cars. But the real definition of resonate comes from when you strike a piece of metal and it vibrates and makes a sound. Or if you've ever taken a wine glass and you make your finger wet and you go around the edge of the wine glass, the glass will resonate. That means it will vibrate and it will make a beautiful sound. So two different definitions of resonate there. Hopefully that made sense to you. Next question is from Hannah's Lexus. Hannah says, hi, Bob. Could you please tell me which one is grammatically correct among these phrases? Kind of movie, kind of movies, kinds of movie, kinds of movies. So I would say, I love that kind of movie. Or I could say, I love those kinds of movies. I probably would not say I would say the first or the last. So if you really like romantic comedies, movies where people fall in love, you could say, I really like that kind of movie. Or you could say, I really like those kinds of movies. Those would be the two that I would use. By the way, I do kind of like romantic comedies. Sometimes they're a little too sappy for me. In English, when you say something is sappy, it means it's just a little too romantic. There's a little too much hand-holding, a little too much love, not enough car chases for me. But yes, I do sometimes watch romantic comedies with Jen, and sometimes they are quite funny. Johnny from Brazil. Hi, Johnny. Hi, Bob. I heard the word showboat being used to describe a person. What's the meaning of that? Thanks in advance. Have a great day. If you watch the sport of, let's say, soccer or football, and you have a favorite player, and if someone says he's a showboat, it means this. When he gets the ball, when someone passes it to him, instead of immediately shooting on the goal, he does some fancy moves first. He shows off a little bit. We would say that he is showboating or that he is a showboat. So when you use that phrase that someone is a showboat, it means that they, in hockey, if you get the puck and instead of shooting on the net, you kind of move around and you do some fancy moves before you shoot, we would say that you are showboating or that you are a showboat. Great question, by the way. Hey, I do want to pause and say hello to the 364 people watching. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new, there is a red subscribe button right there. Try to point to it. I'm not very good at this. Anyways, it's right there somewhere. It's over here. You should click it. When you click it, you get notified when I put a new English lesson on YouTube. And then just a reminder, please use the link that Todd is sharing in the chat. I'm pretty sure today is the day that Dave isn't here. He did text me and say he couldn't make it. I think it was today. So I think it's just Todd today. Please be nice to Todd as he moderates. Let's get to the next question. Oh, this is a very short question, and it might be one of the most complex and difficult questions. Use of would. So you use would when you say sentences like this. If I had enough money, I would buy a new car. If I had more money, I would buy fancier things to eat. So a lot of times, I'll just give you this simple example. If you start a sentence with an if clause, like if I was older, if I was younger, if I had more money, you very often finish the sentence with a clause using would. So if I was younger, I would have more energy. If I was richer, I would have a bigger house. So you see how they're related. It's kind of a causal relationship there. Oh, Dave says, nope, I'm here for now. I may have to leave in a bit though. Thanks, Dave. I got kind of confused. Dave and I were texting back and forth and talking about the wrong day. Sometimes it's better to talk in person than it is to text, but no fault of yours, Dave. That was my fault. Anyways, good to have you here. Awesome. Let's see here. Next question is from Natalia. Hi, Natalia. Can we use the verb wear with the words glasses, bag, umbrella, boots, gloves, and headphones? For example, I wear glasses to see better. So let's go through each of those words. I wear glasses when I read. So yes, you would use the word wear. I wear glasses when I read. I carry a bag. Okay. So if I have a backpack, I put it on my back. I carry the backpack on my back. I carry the backpack on my back. That was a little hard to say. If I go to the store and they put my groceries in a bag, I carry the bag. Okay. We would never say wear. I don't think we would use wear with a bag. I'm trying to think, if I had a purse, would I wear the purse? I think I would carry the purse. Hard to say. You carry an umbrella. You don't wear an umbrella. You wear boots. You wear gloves, and you wear headphones. You can also say, I'm going to use headphones to listen to this. So again, you carry an umbrella. If it's cold outside and there's snow or rain, I wear boots. When it's cold, I wear gloves. You can also say, I put on gloves. Both of those would work. And then you wear headphones when you listen to music, or you simply use headphones. So I've switched back to tea. With a little bit of honey in it. So for those of you tea lovers out there, I'm drinking tea, decaf green tea, I think it is today. I have to check the box to see what it is. Let's get to the next question. I'm sorry, Renata. Oi, Bob, what do you know about Brazil? Do you know any Brazilian songs? So I know a little bit about Brazil. I know it's in South America. I know it's a very large country. I know that you grow a lot of soybeans. I know that my friend Rodrigo, VIP IDP, lives in Brazil. And I don't know any Brazilian songs. Sorry. I wish I did. That would be nice if I would at least learn or appreciate some music from different countries. Maybe I will make that one of my winter projects, to find out what the most popular song is in each of the countries that all of you come from, and then maybe spend some time listening to it this winter. That might be fun. It might be confusing, but anyways, Renata says, thank you for your availability to be here with us. Yes, no problem. It's nice on a Saturday morning just to sit and chat for a bit about the English language. Shanae says, hello, teacher. Would you teach us the difference, demonstrate versus illustrate, demand versus require? Thank you so much. So these are very closely related. Like, when you demonstrate something, it usually means, like, if you had a nail and a hammer and you didn't know how to use them, I would demonstrate how to use it. Okay. I would say, hold the nail like this, hit the nail with the hammer. I would demonstrate. I would kind of act out how to do it. When you illustrate something, it's usually more you're explaining something using words and pictures. Okay. So if you didn't know how to use a hammer and nail, and we didn't have a hammer and nail, I would kind of illustrate. I would kind of write some instructions, and I would draw some little pictures to illustrate how to do it. And then demand and require. When they demand something, they want it. So the only example I can give is this. When I'm driving, I am required to have my driver's license with me, okay? I'm required to have it in the car or on my person. It is the law, so I'm required to do that. So in order to drive in Canada, it requires a driver's license. If a police officer pulled me over, he would demand to see my driver's license. So somewhat related, but still just a little bit different. Let me get to the next question here. Thanks, Fabricio. So let's pretend this is a question. Fabricio says, handsome? So in English, if you say handsome, it means someone is good looking. A man in particular can be handsome. If depending on how you say it though, it's either a statement or a question. So you could look at a person and say, handsome. That means you think the person is handsome. But if you said it this way, if you said, handsome, you're basically asking, do you think the person is handsome? So I'm going to read Fabricio's as a question. Handsome? Anyways, let's move on to the next question. Let's see here. I'm going to need a little bit more tea before I answer this one. Modine says, Mr. Bob, could you please differentiate? I happen to have from, I happen to do, and tell when we are allowed to utilize each one and provide us with some examples. Thanks a lot. So I happen to have, or I happen to do. So let's take the first one. If someone said, hey, do you have some extra money? I could say, I happen to have some extra money in my pocket. If someone said, do you have time today to help me? You could say, I happen to have lots of time today to help you. So it simply means it's kind of a coincidence. Like, do you have, like if someone said, do you have any maple leaves in your pocket? And normally I wouldn't, but I could say, I happen to have some maple leaves in my pocket. I don't actually. There's some on the ground though, but so I don't happen to have maple leaves in my pockets, but I could. The second part, So I'm not sure. The second part is not technically correct to say I happen to do. Yes. Okay. I can think of an example. If someone was to say, hey, do you do home repairs? You could say, I happen to do home repairs. So it's a rare example, but you totally could say that. Like, I happen to do that. Yeah. It just simply means you're asking a question, not sure if the person does it. And then maybe it's surprising when they say they do it, when they happen to be able to do it. That wasn't a great explanation, Modine, but I tried my best. That's all I can do, right? Try my best. Let's see here. Athanasios. Oh, did I close my question app? Let's see if I fixed it. Oh, looks like I broke something. That happens sometimes. Sometimes I break things. Give me 1 second here to figure out what happened. Well, there they are. Now they're back again. I'm not quite sure what I did, but Athanasios says, hello, teacher. How's it going? It's going really good, Athanasios. I hope things are going for you. When you have a manual gearbox, you drop a gear. What's the opposite of this? Thank you. So, first of all, in North America, the majority of vehicles do not have manual transmissions or manual gearboxes. The majority of vehicles in North America are automatic. So when I get in my van, I put it into drive or reverse, and it shifts by itself. When you go to other countries in the world, manual gearboxes are more popular. In North America, many high-end sports cars have manual gearboxes because people with sports cars want to shift themselves. So this is what they do. You can drop it into first gear. You can shift into second gear, or you can also drop it into second from first. It seems kind of silly. If you're in fourth gear, you can drop it down into third. You can also shift up into fourth. So there's a variety of ways to talk about it, Athanasios. I'm probably not the best person to talk about it because my first car had a standard or manual transmission. And ever since then, I've driven automatic. I do want to just ask Brent for a minute, though. I said that the majority of vehicles in North America have automatic transmissions. Brent from American English with this guy. Just tell us your thoughts in the chat, Brent. In my mind, I think almost everything that I have driven in the last 20 years has been automatic transmission. So anyways, let's hear Brent will pipe up in the chat in a sec and let us know. Let's move on to the next question. So this is kind of a grammar question, which I don't normally answer, but I'm going to answer this one. Arturo says, "Hi, Mr. Bob. I hope you're okay. What's the best way to learn the past tense of irregular verbs?" Arturo from Honduras. So there's two things I recommend you do to practice. One is make sure that on paper, you know what the past tense of irregular verbs look like so that you're able to use them. And then try to practice using them by starting sentences with words like yesterday or phrases like last week or last year, okay? So take an irregular verb, make sure you know the form. So do the hard work of memorizing the form, and then build sentences using trigger words like yesterday or last night or last week. What you want to do in your mind is train your mind to know that when you reference the past with a trigger word like yesterday, that you should immediately use the past tense, okay? So on one hand, memorize it. On the second hand, on the one hand, memorize it. On the other hand, be ready to recognize trigger words. I did this in French. It was a lot of help because if I say hier, then I know that I need to say something like j'ai parlé or je parlais, okay? So when you have trigger words memorized, it helps to hook into what to say next. Let's get to the next question. Next question is from Nazir from India. "Hi, Mr. Bob. Do Canadians speak any other language besides English and French? We have more than 20 languages in India. A lot of Indians don't even know Hindi." So there are two official languages in Canada, which are English and French. Our native peoples or our First Nations peoples have a variety of languages as well. And in fact, they're trying to preserve those languages right now because it's hard to preserve a language when fewer and fewer people speak it. And when young children don't always want to learn that language. We also have an incredible range of languages because we are a country of immigrants. The vast majority of people in Canada immigrated from another country in the last 100 or 200 years, or even further back. So we have remnants of Dutch or German or Hungarian. There are large groups of people where the older people still speak the language that they learned when they were a child. So we have a lot of languages, but only two official languages, French and English. Let's see here. Ario has the next question. Ario says, "Hola, Mr. Bob. Could you please tell me what's the meaning of 'there's nothing else like love'?" Hey, I wanted to just check the chat for a sec. Brent says, "Bob, I totally agree. Mostly automatic. You can save money with a manual transmission. I guess that's the only reason we would buy a manual transmission or a stick." Yeah, good point, Brent. So we usually say a vehicle is automatic or manual or standard transmission, but sometimes we say stick because when you shift, you have a gear shift and it looks like a stick, okay? So we say, "Oh, do you know how to drive stick?" Basically, that means, do you know how to drive a manual transmission or standard? Ario says, "Hello, Mr. Bob. There's nothing else like love. I heard that sentence in the song called Your Love by Dana. Thank you." So basically, if I really liked tea, I could say, of all the things in the world you can drink, there's nothing else like tea. That means I think tea is the best kind of drink. When you say there's nothing else like love, it means that when you look at all the feelings in the world, all the feelings that you can experience, you think love is the most important, the best emotion in the world. So you would say, there's nothing else like love. Let's see here. I don't normally answer questions from the chat, but Alex says, "Bonjour, Prof. Bob. Est-ce que tu as des vidéos en français?" Do you have French videos? I don't, sorry. Just English. I'm not sure. I think I promised Lolly Lolly and Corey J that I would do a video in French at some point. I haven't done that yet. We'll see. I'm still thinking of doing one someday. Let's see here. The only way, Ty, to answer this well, Ty Charlottov says, "Hi, Mr. Bob. How should I use either and neither correctly?" So either you know how to do it or you don't. Okay, so there's the sentence with either, which I also pronounced either just a minute ago. So either you drink the tea or you just dump it in the sink. Either you go get groceries today or you go get them tomorrow. So there are some examples with either, okay, or either. So if another quick example with neither would be if someone says, "I don't like winter. I could say, neither do I. So I'm simply agreeing with them by using neither. Those are quick examples. That does not even begin to explain the difference between either and either and neither and neither. So those are just some examples for you right now, Ty. Hopefully that is enough to help you a little bit right now. Hey, I do want to pause and say hi to the 529 people watching. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Bob the Canadian. I make English lessons and then I put them on YouTube, and you can watch them and hopefully they help you learn English. My short English lessons that come out on Tuesdays have a full transcript available on my website. So if you need that, you can read along. It's not automatically generated. It's word for word. And I do have a second YouTube channel called Bob's Short English Lessons. If you have not checked it out, if you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. I should also speak proper English while I'm teaching English, shouldn't I? Sorry, I made a little mistake there. You should check it out. Bob's Short English Lessons. Anyways, let's get back. Maybe Todd or Dave can link that in the chat. That would be great. Let's get back to the lesson, though. Let's see here. Ali from Saudi Arabia says, welcome, teacher. My question is, what is the difference between a few and few, a little and little? So let's see here. If I go somewhere and there aren't very many people, I could say there were only a few people there. But I could also say there were few people there. If I go to the store, I might need to buy a few bananas, but I might just buy a few bananas. Yeah, so it's tricky. There were few as a reference to an actual amount, and then a few. I'm going to mess this up. Let's see. There are a few leaves that have fallen on the ground. If I say there are few leaves, it means there aren't very many. Interesting. They can mean opposites of each other. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to explain this very well. So let me use that example again, okay? As I'm thinking and talking at the same time. If I say there are a few leaves on the ground, it means there's about 5 or 6 leaves on the ground. If I say there's few leaves on the ground, it means there's not very many leaves on the ground. I guess they do kind of mean the same thing. Okay, everyone stop listening to my explanation of few and a few, because I think I'm messing it up a little bit. You're better off searching for this online and finding a really good explanation from someone who's maybe better at explaining it. I like that person a little. That person is little. Okay, so let's look at that. If there is a person that I like just a small amount, I could say I like that person a little. Or I could say, I like cake a little. It means you just like it a tiny bit. But if I say the cake is little, it means it's very small. Still not the best explanation. This may be my favorite question in over 1.5 years of doing live streams, because generally I can give a fairly good answer, and this one I'm actually struggling with. So it might be because, little side story here, we had frost last night. So because we grow flowers, Jen and I got up at 2 a.m. and we covered up flowers with fabric, and we turned on all the sprinklers that we could on the flowers to prevent the frost from damaging them. So Jen and I were up from 2 a.m. till 4 a.m. Taking care of the flowers. And then for some reason, I woke up at 7 and I couldn't sleep anymore. So I'm actually quite tired. So hopefully my explanations make sense today. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see here. Next one is from Sundari. What's the difference between hint and clue? And second question, are weather and weather homophones? Thanks for the answer, Teacher Bob. You're very nice and friendly. So let's take the first one. If I say, what's black and white and red all over? It's a little riddle. What's black and white and red all over? And you're like, I'm not sure. I could give you a clue, or I could give you a hint. And the hint or clue I could give you would be, it's a big thing that you open like this. So what's black and white and red all over? So I gave you a hint or a clue. In that situation, they mean the same thing. A little different if you're investigating a crime. By the way, I'll answer the riddle in a sec. If you're investigating a crime, you're not looking for hints. You're looking for clues, okay? You're looking for little things that give you an idea as to who committed the crime. So anyways, the answer is a newspaper, because the paper is white, the letters are black, and it's red all over the world. The second answer could be a zebra with a sunburn, although I think that's like the kid answer to the joke or riddle. Anyways, there's a little joke for you. And weather sound exactly the same. Yeah, whether you say weather or whether you say weather, or if you are talking about the weather, yeah, it's weather. They're the same word. Sorry, that was a confusing sentence. This might go down in history as the silliest Bob the Canadian live stream ever, as I try to remain logical. But thanks, Sundari, for mentioning that I'm very nice and friendly. I try my best to be nice and friendly all the time. Let's see. Next question is from Shreya. Hey, Bob, what is the difference between on and onto? So I'm going to put the drink on the table. I'm going to put the drink onto the table. So in that situation, they mean the same thing. So if I was to take my tea, I could put it on the table. I could put my tea onto the table. Okay. When you go on a ship, you go up, you can go onto the ship, you can go on the ship. So there's probably situations where they do mean something different. I would say we use on much more than onto, but the two examples that immediately came to mind would be examples where they meant the same thing. Yeah, so I come out and I put my computer on this table on Saturday mornings. I could say I come out and I put my computer onto the table on Saturday mornings. So you might have to dig deeper to find examples of when they are different, because I cannot think of any right now. So Sarah from Colombia, hi Bob, is going to fix this a bit. Is it correct to say it's not going to snow or won't it snow? Thanks in advance. So both sentences are correct, but both sentences mean something slightly different. So if I say it's not going to snow, it means that I do not think it's going to snow. And honestly, today, it's not going to snow. Okay, so we know it's a statement of belief, like it's not going to snow. I don't think it's going to snow. But if I say, won't it snow? It means I'm asking whether it might or not. So if someone says, oh, I'm going to go to the beach today and I'm going to go swimming, and if it was December, I could say, won't it snow? Which basically means I think it's going to snow today, or it might snow today. So won't it snow means something slightly different than it's not going to snow. It's definitely not going to snow today, just so you know. So from SpongeBob, so I think this is a little bit of a joke question. I like this question. Does claustrophobic mean someone is afraid of Santa Claus? So first of all, no. And second of all, claustrophobic is pronounced claustrophobic. Very challenging word for English learners to learn how to pronounce. Let me say it one more time. Claustrophobic. I am claustrophobic. If you are claustrophobic, it means you're afraid of being in small places, okay? So if you, let's say you have a small closet in your house and you have to go in the closet to get your hat. And when you're in the closet getting your hat, you just don't like it. You would say that you're claustrophobic, okay? Let's say you have a really big car, and when you drive your car, you have lots of room, and then you buy a really small car, and when you're in the car with a whole bunch of other people, you just don't like it. It makes you uncomfortable. You could say you're claustrophobic. So definitely does not mean that you're afraid of Santa Claus. Simply means that you're afraid of small or confined spaces. Let's see here. Let me get to the next one. Rod, VIP, IDP. Hi, Rod again. How are you, sir? I'm good. What's the difference between alum and student? Thank you. Have a great weekend. So alum is a short form for alumni. And when you go to a school, you are a student. After you graduate from that school, you are an alum, an alumni, or alumnus. Okay, I think alumnus is plural. You should look that up. But definitely when you are in school, you are a student. Once you are done, you are an alum of the school or alumni. Alum is common in like informal speech, like, oh, what school did you go to? Oh, I'm an alum from that school too. But alumni used quite often as well. Next question, Herman. By the way, let me go back. Hi, Rod. I was thinking Tuesday morning. Yes, if you're available Tuesday morning, let me know. I'll send you an email. We'll chat on Zoom or Skype. Skype. I think we talked on Skype last time. Let's do that. Herman has the next question. Let me look at this one. Herman from Venezuela. Hello, Professor Bob. How to express this sentence? So I'm not going to say it out loud because I'm going to read it and then correct it. So I would say, are there great places to hike there? Are there great hiking trails there? Are there any great places to go hiking there? Those are 3 variations, and I probably could think of a few more. I like hiking. If I come to visit, are there many good places to go hiking there? Do you have a lot of good places or great places to go hiking? That's how I would say that one. Let's see here. Let me get to, I'm at the point where I'm halfway through. We're going to turn on members only chat for a sec. Let me find that for a minute and let me turn that on and get back to here. So we are now for the next 10 minutes or so going to have members only chat. You don't need to leave, but if you are a member, you may ask a question over there in the chat now. Thank you so much for being members. For those of you that are not members, members help support my channel by paying a small amount of money. They do that by clicking the join button. One of the things members have allowed me to do, and I'm pretty excited about, is I have turned off ads in the middle of my videos. So there will only be advertisements at the beginning, sometimes at the end. Even these longer videos now will have no ads in the middle. Okay, so thank you to the members. Enough members have decided to support my channel that I feel like this is something I can do for everybody. Besides that, members get an extra video a week and a few other things, a few little niceties. But I should start looking at the questions. Bonjour, Bob. Can you sing the French national anthem, La Marseillaise? No, I can't. Sorry. First of all, I'm not a good singer. And secondly, the tune doesn't come to mind. I kind of know what it is because when I was young, I used to play Olympic Games on my computer. And if you chose France and you got the gold, they would play the national anthem. But I don't remember it off the top of my head. I'm not really a singer, lolly lolly. C'est difficile pour moi de chanter. Gleb says, hello, Teacher Bob. How are you doing? My question is below. I ran into the idiom to be on the ball. The first meaning that I found out is to know everything about some deal. The other one is to be quick to understand and react to things. Which is right or what is right? So if you're on the ball, it does mean you're quick on your feet. So if I say to a student, you're going to need your textbook and your workbook and a pen and a pencil today and your computer, and the student says, I have all that, I would say, oh, you're on the ball. So it means to be ready. It means to be prepared for something, okay? You could use it with the first definition as well. Like if you said to someone, I want to buy this car from you. How much do you want for it? And if the person said, I want this much money, if you can pay me in cash, you could say, oh, you're really on the ball. But more, it means to be really well prepared for something. Let's see here. Lolly Lolly. I would love to hear that. Canada has one of the most beautiful national anthems, in my opinion. Yes, I do know that anthem. I'm not going to sing it, though. I don't know if there will ever be a video where I sing. Wait, that's not true. I think I sang in one video. I think I sang the ABC song in a video. Or in a live stream once. Do you know the ABC song? Like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's as much singing as I'll do. Let's go to the next question. Let's see here. The members videos on Wednesdays are really nice. That's from Brent. Thanks, Brent. They're fun to make. If you're wondering what the Wednesdays video is, I simply just talk for about 3 minutes about something, usually about my life or what's going on. It's not super exciting. It's not actually an English lesson, but it does have a transcript and full English subtitles. So it is kind of handy. Brent also enjoys the French national anthem. Cool. Let's see here. Let me pull another question up. This is from Hatut. How are you? I'm good, Hatut. Thanks for asking. Sometimes I have difficulties in pronunciations with similar sounds. Could you recommend how I can get the right pronunciation? Thank you so much. So that's tricky. Like I know a lot of people have trouble between the words main and men or man and men. So my brother is a man. My brother and I are men, and we are the main men in our family. Sorry, I have another brother. He's also one of the main men in our family. Anyways, I don't know. You need to really hear a native speaker say it. Having Google pronounce it for you can help a little bit. Like if you put it into Google Translate and click the little speaker, it will say the word for you. So if you put, again, man and men into Google Translate, it would give you an idea. So you'll have to see. Let's see here. Gleb says, thank you for your answer. No problem, Gleb. Norma says, lolly lolly, I sang it in high school many years ago. I like to learn French and remembered it. That's very cool, Norma. And then Lolly says, I have a few friends and I have few friends. Can you explain it like that? Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. If I say I have a few friends, it means I have 4 or 5 friends. If I say I have few friends, it means maybe I have 1 or 2 friends. If you say I have quite a few friends, though, it means you have 10 or 15 friends. I mean, there's no exact number, but using few in different ways can be tricky. Yeah, I have a few friends. I have few friends. I have quite a few friends. All slightly different meanings. Kaio says, hi, Teacher Bob. If one day I had the opportunity to visit Canada, what place would you suggest to visit there? So if money and time were no object, so if you had lots of money and lots of time, this is what I would do. You need to come to Canada several times because you should visit Ottawa in the winter. You should visit Banff National Park in the summer and winter. You should visit Quebec in the fall and winter. You should visit my part of Canada, close to Niagara Falls, in the summer and in the winter. Those would be the ones that I would highly recommend. But it's a huge country. There is so much to see. Myself, even, I have not seen the entire country. If you want to see the entire country, there is a train called the Canadian that goes from one part of the country all the way to the west coast. I would highly recommend that you do that. Rod says, how good was it to come back to teaching? Much more challenging than you thought. It's not too bad, Rod, right now. Although my worry is that the number of COVID cases in Ontario keeps going up. We were less than 100 per day, then 200, then 300. Now this past, just yesterday, we're at 400 cases a day. So I'm worried that schools might get shut down, and I don't want schools shut down. I like teaching in person. It's very, very nice. So it's a little challenging, but not too bad. Let's see here. Brent's telling Lolly, great question. Yeah, it was a great question for sure. And then Peter says, hi to all. Hi, Peter. Let's get to another question. This one is from Ryan. So Ryan says, are there specific things concerning the Canadian English accent? I noticed a little thing about the out song, but there probably are other things. So if you are asking about accents within Canada, most Canadians have the same English accent or very similar. But on the East Coast, people from Newfoundland in particular, and a couple other maritime provinces, our eastern provinces, have a slight English accent. But generally within Canada, it's very similar. If you're talking about the Canadian accent versus the American accent, there certainly are spelling differences. We say color and we spell it with a U. And we do say out a little bit differently, and a few other words that I can't think of right now. They're not prohibitive though. A Canadian English speaker can have a conversation with an American English speaker and they will understand 100% about what is being said. And I can attest to this because Brent from American English with this guy and I talked, I think it was Wednesday night. I can't remember what night. We jumped on Zoom and we had a quick conversation, talked for about 20 minutes. At no point did I, as a Canadian speaker, get confused. I understood everything Brent said. And at no point did Brent not understand what I was saying. So Americans and Canadians, I would say we are very close cousins when it comes to our languages. They are very, very similar. Anyways, that was a fun conversation, Brent. It was nice talking to you. Let's talk again sometime. Luis from Peru, next question. Which phrase is correct? I recommend... So I would say I recommend you take the bus, or I suggest you take the bus. Those are the two that I would say. I would say, oh, you're going to that city? I recommend you take the bus. Or I suggest you take the bus. Those are the two that I would suggest. So I didn't want to read either of yours out loud. I like to only, if I can, say things properly. So I recommend you take the bus. I suggest you take the bus. I appreciate all your lessons. Thank Luis. That's great. Let's see here. Just have to check. I kind of let go of the chat here for a sec. Peter's saying in Slovakia, 5,250,000 cases today. That's not too bad of a ratio. Drawer says, hi, Teacher Bob. Do people who live in town or the city, are they called citizens or residents? We would probably say residents. Yeah, residents of that town, or I guess you could say citizens. Citizens is used more to talk about, like I'm a citizen of Canada, more for a country. But yeah, I would say resident. Yeah, I'm a resident of this area, for sure. Brent says, my friend took the Trans-Canada train trip about 10 years ago. He said it was absolutely beautiful. It is a cool trip, I think. They have train cars where the roof is glass, and then you go through all these beautiful parts of Canada. So it's really, really cool. I'd love to do it someday. I'm not sure if I will, but I would love to. Let's see here. Could you please explain, this is from Julia Olise. Hi, dear teacher. Could you please explain the phrase single or return? Oh, I think if you're flying, right? Well, we would use the phrase one way or return. So if I'm going to buy a plane ticket, they'll say, is it one way or return? They might say, is it a single trip, but we usually use one way in Canada. So do you want a one-way ticket or a return ticket? I think that's what you're asking, Julian. Kyle says, thank Teacher Bob. I don't have a lot of money, laughing out loud, but in the future, I really like to visit Canada. It seems like a nice and beautiful place. It is. Sometimes I forget how nice it is. It is a really nice place. I feel very lucky to live here. Huang says, hi, Bob. I remember you told us that the end of the summer is your birthday, so I want to say happy birthday to Bob. Wish you always healthy and happy. Yes, so the secret is still safe. I have only revealed that I am in my late 40s, and I have only revealed that my birthday is sometime in the summer, and the summer's definitely over. So I did have a birthday a while ago. I think I did a little video somewhere around my video that was called Happy Birthday to Me. I think that's what it was called. But yeah, I'm older now, so, and hopefully wiser. In English, you're always trying to be older and wiser. Those two go together. Thanks very much, Huang. Samuel Chen, I just want to say have a nice weekend. Thanks for your live and patient explaining. No problem, Samuel. I like doing it. Brent says, I agree. Great conversation. It always surprises me how similar even Canadian and American slang is the same. Yeah, Brent, it is because we just watch all of your television and your movies. I very much think that Canadian English has developed in parallel to American English because we primarily watch American television and we primarily watch American movies. Okay, so that's going to change how Canadian English develops. We do watch Canadian television. In my opinion, I hope no Canadians are watching. Should I say this? It's not as good. Americans are great at making TV shows. If you were to list the best country in the world for making television shows, in my opinion, it would be a tie between France, Belgium, Britain, and the United States. And I think the United States would be in the top 2 maybe, but I wouldn't put Canada there. Sorry, Canada. Sorry, fellow Canadians, if you're watching. Let's see here. Lolly says, I understand Canadian English better than American English. I don't know why. What I will say, Lolly, is that there is regional differences in the United States that are greater than the differences in Canada. One thing I've noticed is that people from northern and eastern parts of the United States usually have fairly understandable accents for Canadians. So people from Michigan or Ohio or Maine or New York, they have slight accents. You can usually tell where they're from, but they're very easy to understand. When you go deeper into the south or when you go really far to the west, you might notice a slight difference, and maybe it's a little more challenging to understand. Generally, American television, most of the actors use a very neutral accent when they're talking. So let's see here. Julia says, thanks, teacher. Yes, it was about buying tickets. Awesome. Let's see. Amina, oh no, one Canadian is watching. Yes, I'm sure there's one Canadian out there. Although when I look at my stats, 10% of my viewers are from Canada. I didn't really realize that at first. Hey, I need to turn off members only chat. Let me do that while I'm also saying thank you again to all of my members. Honestly, when I started memberships, I wasn't sure very many people would become members. So I do appreciate it. It's really nice to be able to make the channel better. You don't just support me, like I don't just get money from you and then go buy fancy food for my family. I use the money to make the channel better. And it's very nice. It's nice for me to be able to turn off ads in the middle, because I know when I'm watching an exercise video or a French video, the ads can be kind of annoying, right? So we'll see. I think it will work out. For now, at least ads are off. So let's get to the next question though. By the way, Lolly says, thanks, Bob. And I say, pas de problème. No problem. So Ivan says, hi, Bob. What's grammatically correct? This stuff or so the first one. So I have to bring all this stuff outside. You can't see it, but there's a microphone, a mouse, a laptop. I bring out a tablecloth, my camera. I have to bring all this stuff out in order to do a live stream. What I can say with these though, is I could say I have to bring all these things out. Okay, so I have to bring out a laptop, a microphone, my mouse, my tea. So notice they mean the same thing. I have to bring out all this stuff, or I have to bring out all these things. Both mean the same thing, and both very common. Okay, what are these things for? Why do you have all this stuff out here? So notice we do use them quite regularly when we're referring to a bunch of things. Sometimes at school, a student will have like books from other classes and their backpack and their lunch, and I'll say to them, why do you have all this stuff on your desk? Or why do you have all these things on your desk? Very common thing to say. Julia says, I am glad to be a member of your channel. Well, thank you, Julia, for being a member. That's awesome of you. Let me remind folks that we are going to be going for another 15 minutes. If you do have a question, please use the form to ask it. I will most likely not get through all the questions. I've only done that once. And towards the end, I wasn't making much sense, but do use the form that Todd is linking. Let's see here. Iman says, what's the meaning of on the brink? So let's say you have a business and because of COVID, the business isn't going well. Okay, so let's say you have a restaurant and because of COVID, you do not have a lot of customers. You are not making very much money and you think that you might go bankrupt. That means that you might have to close the business. We would say that you're on the brink of going bankrupt. So when you're on the brink, you're very close to something, okay? So, and I think generally we use it to describe bad things. I have to think about that for a minute. But you would say your restaurant is on the brink of closing. It's on the brink of going bankrupt. So that's an example that's actually true. Many restaurants in Canada are on the brink of going bankrupt right now because COVID has caused less and less people to go out to, so fewer people have gone out to eat. If you go to a restaurant, you would say, wow, there's few people here. I'm trying to use few, but it's not coming to me. So yes, when you're on the brink, you're close to the edge. So you can use that as well. They're on the edge of going bankrupt. So let's see here. This one, I don't know if I'll be able to answer. This is from Sachin. What is the meaning of gumminess, nutty, starchy, and smoky related to food? I love your lessons and you as well. Thank you. In India, it's 8:45 p.m., completely dark. Yeah. Here, the days are going to start getting shorter soon. In India, I think the days should be getting longer. I'm trying to imagine the world. If something is gummy, just think about chewing gum. It's sticky and stretchy. If something is nutty, it'll taste like almonds or peanuts. It'll have a nutty flavor. Sometimes you can buy a cake that has a nutty flavor. Okay. Starchy, anything that's starchy would be like potatoes or noodles, something that's made out of flour or starch like a potato. And then smoky in Canada and in the United States as well, there's often different types of meat that they will smoke. So instead of roasting it or instead of broiling it, they will smoke it. They will put it in a device where wood smoke actually cooks the meat and it will end up having a smoky flavor. Okay. And generally in Canada, we call it barbecue. In most parts of the US as well, they would call it barbecue. Do you want to go out for some barbecue? Usually if you go to a restaurant that specializes in barbecue, it'll be some variety of smoked meat or smoky food. It's a good flavor. I love it. Let's see here. Where am I at? Let's see. Next question is from Valentina. Valentina says, what's the use of unless, number one, And unless, number 2, unless you study, you'll fail the exam. She can wait unless she would prefer to come back another day. Thank you. So in the first one, it simply is indicating if you choose to not do an action, this will happen. So unless you study every day, you won't learn to speak English. Unless you study, you'll fail the exam. Unless you practice your driving, you'll never get better at driving. Okay, so it's simply setting up a thing where if you don't do this, then what you want might not happen. So unless you do your chores, you won't get your allowance. So in Canada and in the US, sometimes children get an allowance from their parents. My children don't get an allowance, but we usually buy them whatever they need. So unless you do your chores, you won't get your allowance. So unless you make your bed, or you won't get your allowance unless you make your bed. The second one, she can wait unless she would prefer to come back another day. This simply is indicating a choice, okay? So basically, you can have a cookie unless you want a brownie instead. A brownie is a small thing that you eat. So it's simply indicating a choice that you can make. Tricky though, a word that has kind of 2 different ways to use it. Next question is from Julia. Julia says, "Hi, Teacher Bob. How to correct this sentence? I prepare mine for my family. Thanks for your support." So the only way I can see this can be correct, totally. Let me think. If you're talking about a certain food dish, like let's say you make a really good pizza, you could say, "Oh, my pizza recipe is the best. I prepare mine for my family every week." So you're simply talking about your recipe. So you could use the sentence, totally. Yep. Maybe you have a really good pierogi recipe. Maybe you're from somewhere in the middle of Europe where pierogies are super awesome, cool, and everyone eats them. I eat pierogies about once a week, by the way. You could say, "Oh, I have a really good pierogi recipe, and I prepare mine for my family every week." So you're talking about a food item for sure. Elmer in the chat says, "Hi, Bob. I like your channel. It's the best to learn English." Well, I would argue it's not the best, but it's certainly a choice. It's one of the channels you could watch to learn English for sure. Let's see here. Next question is from Tran T. Chu Chiet. "Hi, Bob. How are you doing today?" I'm doing good, Tran. Very good. "Could you please tell me what is the difference between to wear makeup and to put on makeup? Thanks so much." So to wear makeup is a general term. So if you said to me, "Bob, do you wear makeup?" I would say, "No, I don't wear makeup." You're simply asking if from day to day, do I wear makeup? If you said to Jen, "Jen, do you wear makeup?" Jen would say, "Most days I don't wear makeup, but when I go out on the weekend, I usually wear makeup." Okay. When you say to put on makeup, it's describing the actual act. Okay. So tonight, Jen and I might go visit my sister. Before we go out, Jen might put on makeup. Okay. So you could say, "I like to put on makeup when I go out," use it more generally, but usually you would say this. If someone usually wears makeup, you would say they're someone who wears makeup. If someone is going out and before they go out, they would like to put on makeup, you would say put on makeup. Kind of use the phrases to define the phrases there, but I think that made sense. Let's see here. Brent says, hi Brent, again. Brent says, "In the show Friends, most of the characters have a neutral accent, even though it takes place in New York City. Joey has the most authentic New York accent of any of the characters, and even his accent is a little subdued. If any of you have a chance to visit New York, it is a great place to go. And yes, I would 100% agree. It's certainly toned down a bit, mostly considering I think 1 or 2 of them might be from. You'd have to research how many actually came from New York. Let's see. Alex. Alex says, "Bonjour, Prof. Bob. Nice to meet you. I need to practice both English and French. What can I do to stop translating everything in my mind? Do you have French videos?" So no, I don't have French videos. But what I would suggest to you is that you focus heavily on whichever language is the easiest to focus on that day, or make a schedule. So there are days where I function almost completely in French because I teach a French class, because I don't have to interact with a lot of people. So on that day, I focus on thinking in French, reading in French, teaching my class in French, and it's very helpful. There's other days where if I was like you learning another language, I would focus on that instead. But If I were you, Alex, I think I would need to make a schedule. I would need to say, look, on Mondays I'm learning French, on Tuesdays I'm learning English. That would work for me. I don't know if it's the best schedule, but that's what I would have to do. Rosita has the shortest comment or question that I've seen ever, I think. Rosita says, hi. Hi, Rosita. Thanks for leaving that short little message. By the way, I am going to use this as an example. Sometimes when you are learning English, you read a lot, you listen to a lot, you watch a lot of TV shows, you maybe do some writing, but it's hard to take that first step to just say hi to a native English speaker. So I think it's cool that Rosita just said hi, just decided to say hi. I'm not sure how many people are now going to say hi using the forum. I'll probably skip them from now on. But Rosita, that was great to take that step just to say hi. Let's see. Gina from Ecuador says, hello, Sir Bob. Which is the correct sentence? Or how to correct this sentence? Sorry, I read that wrong. Hi, Sir Bob. How to correct this sentence? That is the man's work ID number. Thanks. I'm really grateful for your help. So we would say that is the man's work ID number. So often when you work in a factory, you will have a number. You will be like worker number 712 or 712. So when they keep records of your employment, you will have your name, but you'll also have your work ID number. And they'll call it different things. You could totally say to someone, why does that guy have the number 712 on his shirt? You can say, oh, that is the man's work ID number. Notice I did fix it though. That is the man's work ID number for sure. Let me get to the next question. Oh, the next one I think I've answered. It was the one from Drawer about citizens and residents. Let's see here. Bibi Lee. So Bibi says, hi, Bob. How are you doing today? Really good. I'm a little bit cold, but maybe I should do this more. Should I put my hood on and my hands in my pockets? No. I'm Canadian. I'm supposed to be okay with cold weather. Could you please tell me what is the difference between air and atmosphere? Thanks so much. So the atmosphere is all the air that is around the Earth. So from ground level up till where the air gets so thin that space begins, all of that air is called the atmosphere. So the atmosphere is made up of air, okay? Air is obviously what you breathe. When you breathe in air. When you breathe out air. So air is kind of the smaller term. But yes, the Earth is surrounded by the atmosphere. Let's see here. Can you guys hear me again? Hopefully you can. I just had to clear my throat. I'm not sick, but when you teach, you talk a lot. Sometimes it makes your throat a bit dry. Let me get to the next question, though. I'm not sure how to answer this one, Lenny, but I'll put it up. I have a big confusion with this sentence. NIT update form or NIT updating form when we use the noun ending in ing. It really depends on how you name the form. So people sometimes do it wrong. So you could say this is the driver's license update form. You could also say this is the driver's licensing update form. Sometimes we do it wrong. So in your specific example, I'm not sure what the answer is because I'm not sure what an NIT update form is, but both could be correct. Like, this is the NIT update form. Can I get the NIT updating form? You could probably use both and you would be fine. Let me get to the next one. Let's see. Hi, Bob. Do Canadians use present perfect frequently comparing with Great Britain? Thanks in advance. I would say we use it a lot more like how the Americans do, although again, when I talk to people from America or Great Britain, our English is very similar in structure. There's just a few words that are different and the pronunciation. So I would say probably yes. Yeah, I think so. Let's see here. Last question. Ramon from Spain says, congratulations on your channel. Thanks, Ramon. My brother actually congratulated me the other day because he noticed I had over 500,000 subscribers. And That's still shocking to me. So thank you to everyone out there who is a subscriber. Thanks for clicking that subscribe button at some point in your life. It made me happy, and I'm happy to help you learn English. My question is, can you understand the lyrics to any song without reading them? That has always been my Achilles heel. So first, let me explain what an Achilles heel is. An Achilles heel is a weakness. So my Achilles heel when I try to run really far is my lungs don't work very good. So that's my weakness when I try to run. Ramon is saying that when he listens to a song, his Achilles heel or his weakness is he doesn't always understand the lyrics. So we'll end this lesson by me telling you a little secret. Most native English speakers, the first time they hear a new song, they don't understand all the words. They understand some of them. It really depends on the singer. If I listen to a new Taylor Swift song, I usually understand most of the words. If I listen to a new heavy metal song, I usually have to go and look up all the words as I listen so that I can recognize them. So music's interesting that way. Some singers sing very clearly, and it's very easy to understand them. Hey, I want to thank Mini for the umbrella super sticker super chat. Thank you very much. Mini says, hi, Bob from Korea. And I do want to end on this note. I'm going to just go to no display so you can see the background a little bit. And I want to thank you all for being here. Thanks to Todd for moderating the chat. Dave was here earlier. Thanks to Dave as well. Do check out American English with this guy's channel. He has another channel on YouTube where he teaches English. He's a great guy. His name is Brent. Super friendly. Go over there and learn a bit too. If you didn't see my video from earlier this week, go and have a look. It was a fun video to make. I think you'll enjoy it. You'll have to see. It's about reading. I really like reading. I think it's there somewhere. I think I could link it if you wanted, but I think you'll find it anyways. Who else should I thank? Thanks to me for doing this. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks to all of you for being here. It's fun to sit down with you on a Saturday morning. I'm glad we could be outside. Hopefully we can be outside for a few more weeks before the snow starts to fly. That's the phrase we use to describe kind of that first cold, wintry day in Canada. Hopefully the snow doesn't start to fly until November and we can be outside for a while. I love the cold, so I don't mind sitting out here, and it's nice to be able to give you a little view of the background. Thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. I'm going to now end the stream, and I'll see you Tuesday with a new video. But yesterday we did a lesson on the season of fall and autumn. If you haven't watched it, it's available on my channel. But I will also have a shorter version of it available in about 24 hours, I think, maybe a little less. There will be a short version of the lesson on the season of fall. You should watch it. Anyways, bye. Have a great day. I think I'm going to relax today, although I have to get groceries and I have to edit a video and I have to go to my sister's. I have a lot to do. Maybe I won't relax. We'll see. Anyways, bye. It's been fun talking.